It's Andrea.
Hello, nice to meet you. I had one of your folded vases. Well, there can be just as big The house is gorgeous.
Thank you.
I mean, did you build it?
I did. I did.
This is the first of the fall studio tour series, and I'm just delighted to be here with Paul Heroux. He's gifted in every way as an artist. He is a gardener. He is an incredible cook. He built his home, which he can tell you more about. His aesthetic is fine, and I'm just honored to be here today. So, Paul, you can take it away.
Thank you, June. Yes, I started, well, I went to the Boston Museum School of Fine Arts a very long time ago, majoring in painting, but also taking photography and ceramics and sculpting, sort of a whole introduction they did at that point. And I really love ceramics and I really love painting. And so sort of at the end of my time there, I started combining them both and making a surface and then using it as a canvas. So I've been combining that really since the early 70s. I do love making a vessel, and almost all of my work starts on the potter's wheel. I really enjoy the process of using the wheel, and I found it also is a very effective way of making a collar of pliable clay that I can make, let firm up a little bit, and then start shaping. I do a lot of things called folded vases, which are containers that are built with along the line of a folding screen with different patterns on different parts of the screen. So even though I sometimes start with a drawing, I've been doing these for long enough that I feel I can kind of design it as I'm making it. Usually I like to close sections up so you could use them for flowers. So with this, I would probably do that too. And I also use those collars to make boxes, which are kind of a combination of a throne form and a slab built form. Well, when I was a painter, I was sort of in a school called pattern painting. And it's very much what it sounds like, using different patterns in combining them in a collage way. So I just brought that over to clay and kind of found some various ways of making patterns. Well, the form comes first. Okay. So I make the forms, and they might have 5 or 6 different curved or flat surfaces. So I would like, and then I try to think about 4 or 5 different types of surfaces. So I cut sponges for kind of a monoprint effect. The other thing I'm using are underglazed decals, which are commercial decals, and I cut those up and use those as collage elements for a surface. I do a lot of sgraffito, scratching through a slip or a glaze and then putting an oxide in that line. So most of my pieces are fired 4 or 5 times to achieve all of the different applications. And when I approach something, I usually, make one or two surfaces, fire the piece, take it out, and then try to refer to those first parts as jumping off points to add more. So the electric kilns are much safer way to do this first firing. It's called abyss firing. And it basically kind of makes the piece so it cannot dissolve in water anymore. And it's porous and absorbent. So that's what you rely on for the glaze to apply. So most of the glazes are just powders and water, and you're pouring it or painting it over this absorbent surface, and it kind of produces a skin.
Do you prepare all those sides and then fire it again, or do you do one panel, fire it, be happy with it, stick it back
Well,
in?
I try to find things that will fire at the same temperature. So I fired this and this at the same temperature. I also make large plates, which are either thrown or made in a type of plaster mold that I make. These plates are 18 to 21 inches in diameter, so they're large pieces, which makes a better canvas for me. I had done projects of tile making and then painting a design with glaze on the tiles. And the most recent thing was a water feature in a public park in Charleston, South Carolina. For that project, I worked with a tile maker and ceramist in Massachusetts. Chris Guston is his name. He would make the tiles. I would choose the glaze palette, and then I and an assistant would actually hand paint the glazes on the tile. And this water feature is a trough that's 32 feet long, and I think it's 6 feet wide. And it has 2 feet of water and an edge that you can sit on. Well, the last 7 years I've been playing around with taking photographs and turning them into a decal that I can put over a glaze and fire it into the glaze. All the photo imagery are photographs I take myself. So I'm really exploring all kinds of ways of making marks and affecting the surface. Very much I'd like the viewer to bring their own interpretation in, because what I'm doing is sort of like a bit of a puzzle with different visual references, and that may mean something very different to the viewer than to me, and that's absolutely fine. I like that. So I'm not trying to get a message across. I'm collaging a bunch of images, and until it sort of has an effect for me, and then I hope it has some effect for somebody else.